to Sugar Mama's Fire Play, the podcast where we ignite your financial independence, retire early mindset, and help you build long-term wealth. I am financial planner Canna Campbell, and today we're talking about a budgeting trend that is flipping the switch on financial conversations, one that I really like, and that is loud budgeting. This very simple but incredibly powerful approach is helping people around the world take control of their money and their money management, learning how to say no with absolutely no guilt and actually a huge amount of pride, and reach their financial goals within their deadline. So if you are someone that has felt pressured to spend just to try and keep up, this is the perfect episode for you. So let's get started. So what exactly am I talking about? What is this loud budgeting? So loud budgeting is the opposite of suffering in silence when it comes to money. Instead of secretly stressing behind closed doors about your finances, your cash flow, your liabilities, your responsibilities, what you're doing with your money that you might feel a bit embarrassed or anxious about, instead, you actually openly share your spending priority. That is where you like to spend money, where you like to save, what you're doing, what's working, what's not working, your setbacks, your challenges. Just almost like airing your financial dirty laundry, but in a productive way and leaning into that vulnerability. And it's about confidently saying, I'm not spending money on this because I'm saving up for something more important. And these people are actually taking it up another level and making it far more intimate and I think inspiring, but by actually providing a solution or alternative, and at the same time share the details behind what they're saving up for and why, and where they stand right now financially, and also how they're managing to juggle all this while still living a healthy, happy life. So for example, instead of saying or feeling awkward about turning down, say, an expensive dinner, these people are coming out and saying, hey, I would have loved to have gone to dinner out tonight. All my friends are going out and they're going to this restaurant, it's going to cost this much money. But instead, I've said no. I would love to catch up with all my friends, don't get me wrong. But right now, I'm actually prioritizing my saving goal right now, which is saving up for my first home, which is really important to me. And I'm so excited about, having my own place that I can style and decorate and having that sense of stability and security. So whilst my friends are out spending, all this money and having a great night, I'm going to catch up with my friends separately. And I'm actually going for a hike with one of them. I'm going to catch up with coffee for another, and I'm having another friend come over for an early dinner late next week. See how this complete conversation is shifting people's mindset when it comes to their financial goals, their financial future, and also their sense of financial confidence as they work towards their goals, but with these really healthy, clear boundaries firmly in place that doesn't hold them back in any way, but also allows that balance in enjoying life. So why is this so popular right now? Look, there are quite a few reasons, but I think the key one is obviously the cost of living pressures. Everything is so much more expensive right now. I was talking to someone that paid $7 for a coffee the other day, which is just madness. So people are really being forced to make smarter choices with their money and their cash flow in particular. And, like so many other people, including myself, we've all had enough of having to live like this and the stress, and they want to take back control, which I think is so admirable and absolutely brilliant. The other reason why this has become so popular is the social media influence. Social media, I think, is a double-edged sword. You can use it in the right way and it's very powerful, but you can use it in the wrong way and it can be really lethal. So platforms obviously like TikTok and Instagram are completely changing the way we talk about money. And instead of glamorizing spending and all these like fashion hauls, people are now normalizing the financial transparency as well as all the highs and lows that go on working on your financial goals and dreams. And of course, the journey and the adventure, which I think is really healthy because working on your finances is not, smooth sailing. There's a lot of heartache and sacrifices and frustration that goes along the way. So it's great to bring this, to show this through a camera and through social media. The other reason why I think it's so popular is the emotional relief, which is, I think, quite deep. Because when you stop pretending that you can afford everything, that everything is fine, that you can not only keep up with the Joneses, you can exceed the Joneses, you actually relieve yourself from the stress and anxiety. You give yourself permission just to let go and not be a part of that toxic trend of having to feel like you have to keep up with the Joneses. Instead, you start putting yourself back in a safe place again via acceptance. And I think that's really liberating. Loud budgeting makes it socially acceptable and safe to say, no, you know what? That's actually not in my budget right now. Or actually, I would prefer not to use my money on something like that right now because I have a better idea in mind. So it's about really positively acknowledging that, yes, things are a bit tough right now or you're struggling, but they are going to get better because you're actually investing in yourself, stepping up, taking ownership, and you're working on building something that is better for you both in the short and medium term. And you're embracing everything about what you're going to learn along the way. And of course, sharing it. And I have to say, it's really great to see younger generations embracing this moment. I feel really old saying that, but this movement is really about taking back control and looking at, the pressure to, constantly upgrade things or dine out or go to the latest bar, restaurant or holiday destination, book these lavish holidays, flying business class or, something luxurious like that. Instead, they're owning their goals with a huge amount of confidence and pride. And I myself find this so motivating when I see this on social media. So how will loud budgeting then help you in your life and your financial goals? Well, look, there are lots of ways I think you'll find it helps you. I will admit, I think you have to really open yourself up to this and allow yourself to be inspired, because once you do, I feel like it will break through a few blocks in your life and it'll help you shift into a different gear, a better gear. So the first thing with loud budgeting, it really does allow you to take control of your money. You have a greater sense of awareness where you may previously have used impulse spending, and instead you can have that awareness, you can catch it and make much better choices that actually align with your real goals, those exciting goals that you've set for yourself. The other way that loud budgeting can help you is it frees you from that financial FOMO. So you really just say enough with the guilt. No more anxiety about missing out. And you're replacing those feelings with something that's actually healthier and more nutritious and fulfilling. And that is, achieving your financial milestones, all those little goals along the way and the big goals, of course. And, when we eat a healthy food, healthy meal, a salad, protein, all the highly nutritious meals with all the minerals and vitamins that we need, that feeling of the adequate for sufficiency lasts so much longer than if we binge on sugar and, carbohydrates. What I'm trying to say is when you achieve those goals and work on those goals, the high that you get from that lasts so much longer and actually inspires more growth and success. So if you think about eating a really big healthy salad for dinner, you don't really feel the need to go and binge on a massive bowl of ice cream. In fact, you're aware of the feeling of feeling full and feeling healthy and feeling proud for eating that big bowl of salad. Tomorrow night, you'll probably go and do the same. And this is that really powerful flow-on effect of what happens when you work on your finances, in particular, loud budgeting. The other thing you'll find that loud budgeting helps you in your life is you start having really healthy conversations about money. If you want to do loud budgeting, you don't necessarily need to do this as part of social media. You don't need to put yourself out there if you don't want to. What I would recommend is, of course, you absorb what other people are doing who are comfortable putting their finances out there. And amongst your close circles, the people that you trust, having those conversations about finances is brilliant. You might talk to your best friend and say, what, I'm working on these goals, or I've just done my budget and I've made these changes, and what do you think about this? Or do you have any ideas that could help me? Have those healthy conversations, as well as talking about the setbacks, the blocks, the frustrations, and of course, the wins. All those wins, not just the big wins, but all those little wins along the way where you're ticking off your goals and you're progressing financially. And of course, have conversations about boundaries, those uncomfortable, awkward conversations where, you have to say no, but explain why. And you have to put up that wall of protection in case someone tries to push back on you or tries to question you or undermine you for wanting to do something for your long-term financial fitness and well-being. And then, of course, when you do loud budgeting, whether you put it out there or not yourself, or you just absorb what other people are doing around you, you are going to see far greater progress with your own goals. Every dollar that you don't spend by doing loud budgeting or even secret loud budgeting can go towards your goals. You can go towards your debt goals. It can go towards your saving goals, whether it be saving up for a deposit or building up emergency savings. It can go towards your investing goals. It can go to your superannuation and retirement goals. Every dollar really does count. And you're creating really powerful habits where a lot of this stuff is going to happen organically because you are taking responsibility of the immediate cash flow situation in your life. So if you have ever struggled with spending and trying to fit in, and try to understand about how you can use your money better today, I think loud budgeting is the perfect permission slip to stop the excessive toxic wastage in your life and redirect that money towards something way more exciting. The next thing is I want to talk to you about is how to actually physically and practically start loud budgeting today. So here are 3 very simple steps. Number 1 is set your priority. So I really want you to identify what you're maybe saving up for or what you're trying to achieve financially. Perhaps you want to save up for a deposit for your first home, or perhaps you want to start saving for your retirement, or maybe you want emergency money to make you feel well and sleep well at night. Or maybe it's something like you want to pay off old toxic debt. I don't care what your goal is, just make sure you write it down. Write down exactly how much you need and the date. Get really clear with your goals. That's so important. And please skip the herd mentality goals and think, oh, well, my friend is saving up for her deposit. Maybe I should just do what she's doing. No, please don't do that. Pick a goal that really excites you. Of course, if that excites you and inspires you, go with that goal. But if you're like, oh, I feel like everyone's doing that, I should do the same. No. Rethink it. And perhaps if you're someone who really resonates with this, why don't you have a goal to start investing? That's a goal you will never, ever regret. So once you've got your goal, I want you to do a budget. Now, that's obviously one of the most important part of loud budgeting. Now, if you need help doing your budget, I can actually help you. And this includes having a one-on-one appointment with me over Zoom. And I don't normally tell people this until they have their first appointment with me, but I'll tell you this now. If you need an extra appointment with me, or you need to check in with me in a month's time, or 2 months' time, or even 2 weeks' time, I will include that in the course. So you have to do a budget. You need to sit down and write down all your expenses, but I recommend you check your transactions so you can actually see the reality of how much you're spending. If you actually need me to help you do your budget, as part of this Sugar Mama Budget and Cashflow Academy, which includes the one-on-one session with me, I can teach you how to do a budget, and I'll also give you a special budget template that shows you how to put it all in a neat Excel spreadsheet, but it also gives you the cash flow instructions so that you know the moment you get paid, I put $2,320 in this account, I put $1,335 into that account, I put $295 in this account, I put $150 in that account, and they're all specially allocated towards your financial well-being. This is all part of the Sugar Mama Budget and Cashflow Academy. Now, if you've got a budget, great, brilliant, you can go to the next step. But if you haven't got a budget, please do one. And if you want me to help you, I'm linking in the podcast notes exactly how to enroll in this, and of course, how to go and book that one-on-one appointment with me, which is part of the program. The next thing you need to do is, obviously, once you've got that budget, make sure you take ownership of it. And this is where, you learn to say to people, and you practice this, look, I'd love to do that with you, but it's not in my budget at the moment. Can we do something else instead? You own this with no guilt, no excuses, and just the simple facts of the matter. And I have to say, when you learn to do this and you take ownership, it's incredibly sexy. And people really find it admirable. And the true friends of yours will be like, no problem. I totally get where you're coming from. I think it's amazing what you're trying to do with your finances and improve them. In fact, I should probably do the same myself. Let's catch up for a walk, or let's do a gym workout, or let's do, a coffee, or let's change things up so that we're not spending money that we don't necessarily need to or can really actually avoid, and it'll be better for both of us. So take ownership of the budget. And of course, the next thing is offer alternative. As I said, come up with solutions when it comes to saying no. Don't just say no, because you don't want to become a social hermit. And, the richness of life is the connections around us. This is not what loud budgeting is about, basically staying home and doing nothing. It's about actually owning it, going out there, living your life, still with the richness of connections and being outside, the fresh air and loving life, but doing it in a financially friendly way. And as I said, you don't necessarily need to put all this and splash it out all on social media, unless, of course, you want to, which I think is fabulous, but you can just watch other people. So please, have a go at doing this if you're open to it. And you know what? Let people know how you're tracking along the way if you feel comfortable. People who are started investing, let them know where you're up to, how much passive income have you earned, how much is your portfolio worth if you want to, or how are you tracking towards your retirement goals, or how much have you saved in your home deposit account. Being transparent really does inspire other people. And I think the great thing about loud budgeting is if we let it continue on flowing, I think it has the potential to actually evolve. And I would have to say, I would love to see these conversations where we normalize money and cash flow and budgeting actually expand into the conversation of investing and paying off homes and putting more money into our superannuation and, earning dividends from shares or, rent from investment properties. I'd love to see this include a wider sense of financial well-being. But if it starts here, that's great, because at the end of the day, budgeting and cash flow is the key foundation to financial well-being. And then, of course, how do we make sure that this actually isn't just a trend? It actually has long-term success in our lives and we don't slip back into old habits? Well, this is what I would recommend people do to just make sure that this goes the distance for them and really does work and helps take their finances to the next level and then to the next level and the next level. Well, first of all, obviously, I would recommend you find a budget buddy. Someone who's going to help make you accountable, someone who's maybe got similar financial goals to yours, where you can actually talk about money, talk about what you're doing, talk about the setbacks, the frustrations, the challenges, have a good old-fashioned download and vent, but also you can inspire each other with the wins along the way and the things that you've discovered, the hacks, the habits, even, the resources like podcasts or free templates or online programs, something like that. And of course, make sure you track your wins. This is probably the most important hack or habit to have if you want to use loud budgeting. Track every single win. Make sure you are documenting where you stand today financially, how much debt you have, where your super is at, where your investments are, where your savings are at, so you can actually see the hard work pay off. You can see everything grow in a better, healthier direction that's in alignment to your goals. This will inspire you and motivate you to keep going, particularly when you have a bad day or you get an unexpected bill in the mail and you think, oh, this is so annoying. Why should I even bother? I'm not even getting anywhere. This is too hard. When you track your wins, you track your progress, it actually gives you that light bulb moment to go, you know what? I'm actually really glad I did this because I'd actually be in so much of a worse financial situation if I hadn't done this. And yes, it is annoying having setbacks and challenges, but guess what? Everyone gets them. They're a natural part of life. So put your helmet on and face reality and be grateful for the fact that you're doing the work and that the impact of this unexpected bill, for example, isn't as severe as what it would have been if you'd done nothing at all. And of course, review your budgets on a regular basis. I'm actually due to review ours because our daughter Apple is doing a couple of days a week or one day a week at after school care, and I need to go and factor that expense into our budget, which I haven't done so yet. So, you've got to make sure that you're reviewing your budget, ideally on a, monthly basis. But what I also recommend you do is you track your spending. So every Friday afternoon or Friday morning, I track our transactions sticking to our budget. And I do the same thing again every Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon. This stops us running out of money before the end of a pay cycle. And I explain this as part of the Sugar Mama Budget and Cash Flow Academy in way more detail so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But it's a bit of a non-negotiable in my life. Now, of course, continue on educating yourself. That's so important. Allow the budgeting to be the platform that, takes you to investing, to fixing up your super, to making sure you protected your wealth, to personal insurances, through saving up your deposit for your first home or paying off your first home or helping you buy your next investment property. Use this to your financial advantage. Let the benefits flow into so many different compartments within your life, and don't be afraid to share. At the end of the day, blood budgeting isn't about being stingy. It's actually just enjoying spending money, but spending money in a way that is aligned to what really matters to you and where you want to go in your future. So there you have it, loud budgeting. Everything you need to know and understand about this and how to allow it to help you confidently set financial boundaries in your life, prioritizing what's important and helping you make your money work for you. I have to say, I think this is a game changer for so many people out there who really do want to break free from all that unnecessary spending pressures and build real, authentic wealth. Now, if you've enjoyed today's episode, of course, make sure you're following this show and share it with someone who needs to hear this right now. I would be so incredibly grateful. And of course, if you have any questions at all, please always feel free to reach out to me at Instagram at SugarMamaTV or of course Canna Campbell Official for more money saving tips. As always, keep that financial fire burning bright. This is Sugar Mama's Fire Play.